Just to let you know here, our first questions are those that were developed by the Jewish Community Relations Council of Greater Washington. Each candidate is going to be provided 3 minutes to answer the question. Both will answer their initial questions. Then they will have a chance for rebuttal. So 3 minutes and then a 1-minute rebuttal, gentlemen. Now, if you would like to take part, as you see some of your colleagues and friends here holding the cards above their heads, these are questions that you can submit. Obviously, we're not going to get to all of them, but we would like to try to get to as many as possible, so I'll keep my remarks very quick here. As you consider your question, please keep in mind, those with a polite tone and directed to both candidates will be given a bit of preference here. If you're a member of the media, please write down your affiliation and your name. Let's get right to the first question here. We'll begin with you, Mr. Fimian. The question is this. The president of Iran has repeatedly threatened to wipe both Israel and the United States off the map, promising again last week in Lebanon that the Zionist entity would disappear and that all of Palestine would be reclaimed. All of this, despite recent economic sanctions passed by Congress and signed by the president. What are your thoughts on the threat posed by Iran and American efforts to prevent it from becoming a nuclear-armed power? What else do you believe America, specifically Congress, could be doing to stop Iran's quest for nuclear weapons? You have 3 minutes.
It's a great question, folks. Ahmadinejad must be taken at his word. This is the head of a state who repeatedly, as recently as you point out as last week from Lebanon, has threatened the state of Israel. The fact that Iran is working on nuclear weapons, the fact that Iran is working to enrich uranium, there's a small step between the enrichment process and the weapons, taking enriched uranium, turning it into weapons-grade uranium. The hard part is the enrichment process. They will tell you that the 200 locations that they're doing this throughout Iran are all peaceful. I'm sure that's why it's being done in 200 locations. Iran cannot get nuclear weapons. Not when the head of that nation says categorically that he will wipe Israel off the face of the map. He's got to be taken at his word. So my dad was career military. I grew up in Virginia Beach. I am a very, very strong proponent of us, the United States, having the strongest military in the world. Make no mistake, economic security and military security go hand in hand. You weaken one, you weaken the other, which is why it is so vitally important that our economy remains strong. Growth is the only solution we have to the problems we face economically. We grow, we win. We don't, we lose. It's pretty much that simple. But I want to return to something, if I may, having answered your question, that Mr. Connolly has pointed out. He says that I have used national talking points. He mentioned that 4 times. Folks, I have not consulted the Republican Party about any talking points. These are my talking points. But I will tell you this. He talks about the magnificent things in Fairfax County, and I guess my question to you is at what cost? Because property taxes alone doubled on his watch. Anyone can double your taxes, folks. Anyone can double your taxes. Anyone can throw money at a problem. But what he did is he left the county $650 million in debt. $650 million short. He will tell you that the Fairfax County has to pass the budget by law. Well, of course, but what they did is they raised your taxes, and they cut transportation, and they cut education. And this AAA bond rating, who knows where it's going to go? That was then. My point is, he has you operating over here. He doesn't want you to pay attention to the massive increase in spending and taxing and deficits that have occurred in the United States that are so threatening to our children. Alternate reality number 8. He says he's delivering results, but anyone can vote for $3 trillion in new spending, $670 billion in new taxes. Look, the world I come out of, delivering results, is doing more with less. It means efficiency gains. It means motivating a team to do loftier and more difficult goals, and setting performance to do things better, faster, cheaper, and safer. That's the kind of government we need, folks.
Alternate reality number 9. How about answering the question that was asked?
I did. Did I not answer the question?
And sticking with it. Iran merits more than a 30-second talking point. I was an original co-sponsor of the Iran Refined Petroleum Sanctions Act, which I'm proud to say passed the House of Representatives. We have to have a very strong sanctions regime against Iran, and we need to mean it. And we need to make sure our European allies mean it. And we need to make sure folks in the Middle East get it and understand it. We need to coordinate with our ally, Israel, very carefully on this. I had the opportunity to go to Israel in January for my 6th trip to Israel, and we met with both the foreign minister and the prime minister, Mr. Netanyahu, and we talked about this. This is one of the highest priorities on the minds of Israel, understandably. And the one thing I certainly do agree with is that Ahmadinejad has to be taken seriously. We cannot afford to dismiss his rhetoric as, well, it's just hyperbole. He represents, and his regime represents, so long as they're taking this position, a clear and present danger in that region and specifically to our ally, Israel. And he needs to understand we will stand with Israel, and we will absolutely not tolerate a nuclear development in Iran, and we will not tolerate any kind of hostile act against the state of Israel. That is very important. And it's very clear we need to speak on a bipartisan basis on that basis. And that's why I was very glad to co-sponsor the Iran Refined Petroleum Sanctions Act on a bipartisan basis, and it passed overwhelmingly. Congress takes this threat very seriously and is going to continue, obviously, to work with the administration and Secretary Clinton to make sure that those terms are fully enforced.
Mr. Fimian, you have 1 minute to rebut. Would you care to?
Yeah, I would. Look, if Hamas and Hezbollah lay down their arms, there will be peace. If Israel lays down its arms, it will be destroyed. Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East. We must stand behind our greatest ally there. And in answering the question earlier about Ahmadinejad and Iran in particular, I did not mean to give it short shrift. I simply wanted to point out, as I had earlier, some of the deceptions that exist when one represents what one has done. Look, the fact is, we're a democracy. Israel's a democracy. They're our strongest ally over there. We are strong together. We are weakened when either one of our countries is weakened. Israel's been a very strong ally of ours for a very long time. It is essential that they remain our #1 ally over there in the Middle East. And I'm a very, very strong proponent of that.
Congressman?
I just want to add that I serve in the House Foreign Affairs Committee. I serve on the Middle East and South Asian Subcommittee. And obviously, we're going to continue to insist on the strictest possible enforcement of sanctions until Iran comes to its senses. And if it doesn't, obviously, we're going to have to look at other alternatives in coordination with the State of Israel.